Trump is literally making some of the biggest changes ever, putting America first, bringing huge, massive cuts to the federal spending. The Democrats can't stand it, guys, but this literally is breaking the news so much today. Why? Because he says we are trillions and trillions of dollars in debt and we need to have accountability. Right here, you can see all federal grants and loan disbursements paused by White House. Trump is not playing around when it comes to our national debt of $36 trillion. He says we've got to get this under control. He says right now we have so much money going out and it's not being accounted for properly, and people are taking advantage of the system, costing the taxpayers trillions of dollars every single year, and it needs to stop. The Democrats are going crazy because all they want to do is spend, 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 but we are finally seeing cuts being made to our national debt and cut in spending. On top of that, Donald Trump reiterated again that not a single penny of Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security will be touched. He said we are going to protect our senior citizens. And I love it, guys. Finally, president hitting the debt. We also have breaking news and also transparency from Caroline Leavitt. Just revealed that the drones that were flying over New Jersey that no one had any idea about, the Biden administration said nothing about, were actually authorized by the Biden regime for research and various other reasons. And what bothers me is they couldn't tell anybody. They had the whole country freaking out over who this was, but it was from the Biden administration. We also have where this is getting very, very serious, where remember, Trump said and Homan said, if they stand in our way, we will put them in jail too. Sanctuary city mayors are now fighting the mass deportation so much, and even the Chicago mayor said explicitly it is not his job to protect the Chicago residents from violent criminal illegals, that he only focuses on criminals that are U.S. citizens. You can't make this stuff up, guys. We are moving fast. We're moving forward, but Trump is doing what he says that we do. Promises made and promises kept. Want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, guys. Got a ton of breaking news for you today. Want to thank all of our subscribers and also thank everybody that is members of the channel. But if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button just below this video, guys. Let me take care of you with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel out. So, hey, look, we got fireworks. Sometimes it's a thumbs up. Sometimes it's fireworks. You never know. There it goes. But thank y'all so much for the support, guys. And want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Want to thank Elaine Demeen for her support. Y'all show Elaine some love in the chat. And if you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We've got a ton of breaking news for you today, guys. This is getting serious. Trump is not holding back, and he has issued his order. No more federal grants or loan disbursements. We are going to cut spending, guys. Things are getting real. Check this out.
Getting back to the show. Total personnel warfare. Folks, this show is always a week or 2 weeks or sometimes months ahead of the news cycle. Why? Because we're not liberal media morons and we just process information. There's nothing special about what we do. We read, we process, we deliver to you in digestible forms. We told you a couple of weeks ago, or actually right after the election, that cutesy time was over and that the only way to change the government was going to be to change the people. We can change the policy later, but we already have a constitutional framework to operate on. It just takes people that respect it. So I said, we've got to get rid of everyone. As you can see by this tweet by the great Julie Kelly, Politico, I'm putting up her tweet to give her some recognition rather than Politico because I can't stand them. But Politico is reporting that, quote, fear is gripping the Department of Justice. Yes. As Trump's new appointees waste no time purging the agency of rotten apples, quote, firing at least a dozen who worked on 2 criminal cases against him. This is how we fix this place. You are not going to fix if we do what we did in 2016, where we change a bunch of policies and laws and then get a bunch of people in there who don't want to who want to slow walk everything. We're not going to change. Trump is not around, man. People are getting let go left and right. And media folks and libs, get ready. We are in stage 1 of the FAFO agenda, and you're just FOing now. There is a lot more FOing that's going to happen. The
Let's
FOing
go.
hasn't stopped. It's not going to stop. The Trump administration is starting to realize rock'em sock'em robots is the only way to go. Did you get a bell in there too? You done? Is that a bell? Is that like when Vince McMahon with the pin for Bret Hart? He's like calling the match. They feel bad for blue rock'em sock'em robots lady. Margaret, she is. Margaret. There you go. Sorry, Margaret. You got to start getting rid of people. Okay, folks, on a serious note, I've tried to explain this before, but some people aren't understanding this. Donald Trump can issue all the EOs he wants. The left fully understands and learned after 2016 that if you can get people inside the government to read the Donald Trump EO and just pepper their bosses with an endless list of questions about it, it's an Alinsky tactic of stalling and delaying. Nothing is going to happen. There ultimately has to be people on the ground who will implement said policy. Let me just give you an example from just my direct experience because it's what I can speak to directly. Say the Secret Service changes a policy on where people can protest. If you're the site agent on the ground and you spend 6 weeks asking questions, well, what about outside the bike rack, inside the bike rack, in the event outside? They're actually not going to change anything about the protest zone rule because you're not done peppering them with questions. You've got to get rid of people. Here's another one, Susan Crabtree. Exclusive and breaking. Trump administration cleans house at USAID for failing to follow Trump's executive orders.
Yes.
Yes.
Get him out of there.
People's elbow. Give Justin a shout out there. This is how it goes down. Trump issued an executive order, and he suspected, according to Susan, that people are conspiring to circumvent his EO on halting federal funds to oversee programs and DEI initiatives. Okay. They chose to what? They chose to frown. And Donald Trump had them find out. We're not asking. Listen, guys, I don't know what's going to happen in the midterms. I don't know what's going to happen in 4 years. I'm not some Eckhart Tolle guy. However, the now is all that matters. The only power is in now, right? We live in the now. The present is just time flushing over us. We're always living in the present. And right now, we're in charge. So right now, we've got to do, and this is how it gets done. You want to keep messing around, you're going to find out because Liberation Day is here.
Yes.
And this is what it feels like. I want to give you a quick update, too, on a very important case because Donald Trump and his team, I know, are demanding answers about this. And this is another reason we cannot let up on Kash Patel. The exact same heat you applied to get Pete Hegseth to be Secretary Hegseth, you have got to get for Kash Patel to be FBI Director Patel. We are never going to get answers about who the January 6th pipe bomber was and the full identity and the full story about how an inside job, what of an inside job this was, if we do not get Kash in. Here's Julie again at Julie_Kelly 2. You should follow her on X. Exclusive. New House of Reps report into unsolved J6 pipe bomb reveals a once vigorous FBI investigation stopped in early 2021, despite initially devoting massive resources into finding the suspect. Now.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank y'all so much for all your support. We literally have over 800 people watching, which is amazing. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much. Thank you for your support.
Listen to this. Listen to this, Bongino Army. Are we right or are we right? Now agencies are refusing to cooperate with the House inquiry. Folks in the chat, tell me what happened, please? You already know the answer. Why was it a vigorous investigation early on? Because they did not know, not everyone investigating it knew it was an inside job. I'm telling you, I have a federal agent who was there. I have photos to prove it, who was given instructions to go and be involved in this investigation and was, quote, told to stand down just days later once they felt they had some good leads. Because the FBI knows who this person is, and it's an insider. They just don't want you to know who it is because it will blow up the entire January 6th insurrection narrative. you You're going to start asking once you find out who really incited this, quote, insurrection.
Guys, I'm telling you, the more that we're finding out, the more that we're digging through, we are seeing that there is opposition like crazy to what Trump is trying to do. And I want to show you this, guys, that, again, all federal grants and loan disbursements have been paused by the White House. This is what's being reported, but I want to show you the receipts because it's very important to see why they're being stopped. This is the literal document from the Executive Office of the President that said in 2024, in fiscal year 2024, $10 trillion is what the federal government spent. More than $3 trillion was federal financial assistance, such as grants and loans. And it goes on to say that we don't have accountability. That's why he has paused it. We have to get the waste of government spend under control. Thank you so much, Sherry Garcia, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, hey, Joel, apply for the White House press pass. I'm going to. I'm 100% going to. And John Rappy, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, for the kids, America is back. I love it. I love it. And Sherry Garcia, thank you again, who says, I chip in for Joel to sit in a special press seat at White House just once. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all show Sherry and John some love in the chat, guys. Let's go. But I'm telling you guys, this is the type of leadership that we need. Can you imagine over $3 trillion was spent last year alone? Over $3 trillion, and we don't have accountability for it. That's why Trump is doing the massive spending cuts, pausing all the spending. Why? Because we have to get things under control because we're already $36 trillion in debt, and he is moving fast. Check this out.
Full spectrum dominance, action, action, action everywhere, overnight, last couple of nights. You think the first week was big, this is even bigger. Freezing funds, impounding funds. Going to force these cases, they're going to force this into federal court because the opposition right now is trying to stop it. It's trying to stop it by the courts. Can't be stopped. You've got the impoundment situation. You've also got this, just put a freeze, not an impounding. This is the difference between executive orders and executive action. Mm-hmm. The theory of the case, once again, when you talk about the unitary theory of the executive, I think to a degree this is a little different. I think it's a lot different, but let's say it's a little different than what Cheney was trying to do, which is trying to take power back from the legislative side. The first part of this is the unified. He's chief executive officer, and as chief executive officer, he has a lot of bandwidth to take executive actions. Everything doesn't have to be an executive order. Number two, he's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's got tremendous latitude with that. And third, which they have not wanted to face since the coup against Richard Nixon back in the early 1970s when Judge Sirica, another corrupt federal judge, because tons of these federal judges are corrupt and need to be replaced, like tons of them now, and including, I think, virtually everyone in D.C., maybe not all of them, but a lot of them need to be impeached and removed from office, given their behavior. Because it's the same type of coup. They try to have a coup against Trump. Mm. He's the chief magistrate and the chief law enforcement officer. And they're just going to have to live with that. They really have no defense. The criminals are the low-hanging fruit. That's the ones that have to go now. And this is where you lance the boil of the sanctuary cities. And you take down some of these governors like Pritzker. Yes. You show the whole world how they don't care about your safety. They just care about illegal aliens, even criminals and pedophiles, sex traffickers, the worst. President Trump actually had a fantastic idea the other day for repeat criminals. And I'm, with Jared on on the prison reform, First Step Act, all of it. There'll be announcements coming out on that shortly. But I love President Trump's idea yesterday, hey, for repeat offenders, maybe we farm them out to a foreign prison. If you do that, if that is a threat hanging over, you're going to see a huge drop in recidivism. That may be the biggest thing ever for taking crime out in the United States. He's hitting everywhere. Concurrently, you made another deal, which they didn't have enough respect for you to kind of read you in on because you were not in the room, because Donald Trump had not arrived. And that was to let create an oligarchy. They created the oligarchs, and all the oligarchs were the most progressive left progressives. And they had their platforms to be progressive left, and that's why you were banned, and that's why you were suppressed. Now, we snuck through with guys like Cernovich and these other brilliant guys in 16, the Pepes. Ooh, did I say that? The Pepes. Guys like Cernovich, and these are tough hombres. Nothing about the influencers today, guys. Great job, but man, these guys were savages, beast. We had nothing. Fox was against us. We had Breitbart, and we had these Pepes. And Trump rode it to power. And remember, they went in meltdown after that. We can't let this happen again. But they snuck around us. We thought through the algorithm. That's how Breitbart became so big. Remember, they called a big conservative conference. Glenn Beck and all these guys went to Silicon Valley, and the conservatives are going to have a cop. They're going to have this group that monitors it, and some conservatives are going to be there, make sure they're not banned, except for Breitbart. Because remember, Ben's a brilliant guy. He and I disagree on a lot, but he's a brilliant guy. He says, Bannon's turned Breitbart into Trump Pravda. Don't know if it was Trump Pravda, but it was we were a populist nationalist site, and we supported a populist nationalist candidate. That was Donald Trump. Now, here's what happened. Here's the deal. The deal for Wall Street was that you're going to save the system, and we'll go to $4.5 trillion. When Donald Trump took the oath of office on 20 January 17, the Federal Reserve had gone from $880 billion to $4.5 trillion. That essentially $3 trillion had flooded for liquidity to save the system, to save the banking, to save Goldman Sachs, to save AIG, to save GE Capital, all of it. Save it and have the little guy underwrite it. And if he gets wiped out, hey, he's just a little guy. We'll just, they recreate themselves. They're just they're just deplorables. They don't matter. They don't matter because they know how the system works. So they're always going to vote for the Republican, the controlled opposition, who just tap you along. On the oligarch side, they created oligarchy with the most progressive people. But the deal was, you're gonna give us, we're a hegemon, and you're going to give us hegemonic technical superiority. We're going to have the high ground. The commanding heights, I think it's referred to. The commanding heights. We're going to be dominant in social media.
Guys, let me tell you this. I love it. What we're seeing, again, too, we've got so many news sources nowadays that are revealing the truth, letting us know what's actually going on. But also, too, we're not letting anything go. This is huge because, again, too, guys, so many things are moving. I want to show y'all all the stuff that's happening, and let me know if you support this. But Representative Luna, again, has introduced her legislation to carve President Trump on Mount Rushmore. What do you think of that image right there? I think it looks pretty great. But not only that, guys, Trump is 100% so excited about everything. He posted this today saying there is a bright light over the USA, and indeed, the entire world ever since the presidential election of 2024. There is so much stuff happening so fast, but it is great, great stuff. I want to say thank you so much, everybody. We literally have over 1,100 people watching the show, guys. Thank y'all so much. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, guys, please do so. It really does help the channel out so much. And thank you so much, Judy Lynn Loving Spirit, for the super chat. Said, one day, Joel, we'll be in the very top reports and conversations like Bongino. God bless this channel. And Joel, God bless you, Judy Lynn. Y'all show Judy Lynn some love in the chat. And also show Glenn Hutchcraft some love in the chat for the super chat. Let's go, guys. Y'all are so amazing. I wanted to show you this too, guys, because Trump posted this last night at almost 12 a.m. In the morning. But this just shows you, look at the bottom right, 11:12 p.m. He is not messing around. Donald Trump said the United States military just entered the great state of California and under emergency powers. Remember I told you guys, when you declare a national emergency, Trump gets to do special things. Turned on the water flowing abundantly from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. The days of putting fake environmental argument over the people are over. Enjoy the water, California. How is it that you literally, the governor, Gavin Newsom wouldn't do it, the mayors wouldn't do it, but Trump had to literally use his emergency powers to take care of the American people, guys? That is what's blowing my mind. And I hope that the people that are living there, the residents, I hope that they see this and they take note of it in the next election so that way we do not have to continue living through this. But the military is just the start of it, guys. Check this out.
Moments ago, President Trump announced the military is getting a makeover. Trump's building an iron dome around America. Soldiers fired for not getting the vaccine are returning with back pay. And trans troops, they're out.
To ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, we will get transgender ideology the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone.
Trans soldiers were getting sex change operations and billing the military for them.
That is
And the military,
crazy.
meaning you and I, were paying for it. These surgeries are like $150,000. And it takes a while to recover. Plus, they're injected with hormones and narcotics. No. Say goodbye to the drag shows on military bases and CRT classes at West Point. Our officers will be learning about counterinsurgency strategy instead of white fragility. Here's Hegseth.
And today, there are more executive orders coming that we fully support on removing DEI inside the Pentagon, reinstating troops who were pushed out because of COVID mandates, Iron Dome for America. This is happening quickly. And as the Secretary of Defense, it's an honor to salute smartly.
After Secretary Hegseth walked into the Pentagon, he passed a note around. DOD does not equal DEI, no exceptions, name changes or delays. Those who do not comply will no longer work here.
Wow.
The VA's cleaning house, too. 60 DEI bureaucrats sent packing. One of them was making $250,000 a year.
Wow.
To do what? Well, we found an old DEI slideshow where the VA talks about environmental justice and promoting access to voting. What's that have to do with veterans? Well, the DEI guys are not happy. They are all about to get fired, and they have no skills to get a real job. One woke toady at the State Department said this: I would love to leave, but I don't know where I'd go. And I'm terrified of not being able to pay rent and not having health care. A government worker at the Department of Labor was told to scrub the website of DEI. She then went into a closet, called her mom, and wept. Remember when Democrats told blue-collar workers fired from building the Keystone Pipeline to learn to code?
Wow.
I bet those guys found jobs faster than these DEI folks will. No one's even going to notice they're gone. Here's a former federal employee.
The abuses that I saw by government employees was astounding. When I was hired, my boss bragged that it was basically impossible to get fired from the federal government. Another employee bragged about drunk driving and going out to lunch with her friends for margaritas when she was supposed to be remote working. One employee would come into the office, his start time would be 6:30, and he knew nobody would be there. And when I came in at 7:30 and I was the next person to come in, he was snoring at his desk every single morning.
Government
Our
employees,
government
guys.
is filled with the most incompetent and most lazy people, and an occasional hard worker.
Primetime doesn't take pleasure in Americans losing their jobs, but no one should have been in this line of work to begin with. And the Trump administration isn't going to tolerate undercover DEI agents or large swaths of the federal bureaucracy waging a secret war against them. Quote, those seeking jobs have been told they will have to prove their enthusiasm to enact Trump's agenda and have been asked when their moment of MAGA revelation occurred. Answers that we will accept: A, when Trump came down the golden escalator; B, when his first inauguration had the most attendees of all time; C, when he won the 2020 election; D, when he said fight, fight, fight; or E, all of the above.
All
Without
the
this
above,
type of
baby.
screening, Al Sharpton's nephew could be working at Treasury, and you'd never know. Sharpton lost his DEI grip on corporate America, but he's not giving up. Costco apparently is still DEI. So Sharpton took his crew there and said DEI Thursday is alive and well.
We will stand with those that stand with us. Costco's immediately stepped out and said that they will not back off DEI. We're going shopping in Costco because they have stood with us. People that stand with us, we will stand with them. People that do not stand with us, let Donald Trump stop us in 90 days from boycotting them.
Wow.
Not a good look for Costco. By the way, you have to show ID to get a Costco card.
Ain't that
Someone
the truth?
should tell Al that's racist.
Yeah, like, guys, you cannot make this up, guys. So this is the big, huge thing that's happening right now. All federal grants and loan disbursements have been paused by the White House. This is huge, everybody. But I want to show you this super important piece because a lot of seniors are worried. But this is what I love is that Trump knows whenever something's going to happen, he knows how the news is going to portray it. He knows what's going to happen next. So he goes ahead and prepares. Listen to this, guys. This is beautiful.
Tax system, we could also cut colossal amounts of government waste, fraud, and abuse, of which there's a lot. But tonight, I restate my pledge from the campaign. I will not sign any bill that cuts even a single penny from Medicare or Social Security for our great seniors. We don't have to do that.
Right?
We don't have to do that. We'll not touch those benefits in any way, shape, or form. I want to use that because during the campaign, they had these fake ads that Trump is going to cut Social Security. No, they're the ones that are going to cut it because the country's going to go bankrupt under them. And that's why it's going to cut, because they're not going to have a choice. Not that they're saying we're going to cut it, but our country was heading for absolute bankruptcy. Using reconciliation, I also look forward to working with you to make our energy policies permanent and making our historic deregulation efforts a fixture of U.S. law so that no future president, like they did with Anwar, I got Anwar approved. Nobody could do it, including Ronald Reagan in Alaska. It's the largest site, potentially the largest site in the world, larger than Saudi Arabia. And I got it done. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. Nobody could get it done. They tried, but they couldn't get it done. I got it done. And the first thing they did was end Anwar in Alaska. The biggest, most powerful site maybe anywhere in the world, and we got it done, and we're going to get it done again very quickly. Now, I think I do it with an executive order because they didn't go through Congress. I got it approved through Congress. So I think we get it done fast. But it's going to be, that can supply all of Asia with its location. All of Asia can be supplied by Anwar. So there's so many things, but we don't want to have any future president ever sabotage our economy with out-of-control regulations as the last two Democrat presidents have done. They went
crazy, guys. And what I love is that not only we're working on the Alaska pipeline, but we're also working on the Panama Canal as we speak, guys. They're in Congress fighting and going over what next steps they're going to be doing for the Panama Canal. But I want to say, guys, thank you so much for your support, guys. We got over 1,400 people watching. Y'all are amazing, guys. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. Let's get over 1,000 likes on the video. Thank you so much for your support. Check this out.
We're here today to examine a monument to American ingenuity, the Panama Canal. Senator Moreno down there suggested we open the hearing by playing Van Halen and Panama. We may not do that, but between the American construction of the Panama Canal, the French effort to build an isthmus canal, and America's triumphant completion of that canal, the major infrastructure projects across Panama cost more than 35,000 lives. For the final decade of work on the Panama Canal, the United States spent nearly $400 million, equivalent to more than $15 billion today. The Panama Canal proved a truly invaluable asset, sparing both cargo ships and warships the long journey around South America. When President Carter gave it away to Panama, Americans were puzzled, confused, and many outraged. With the passage of time, many have lost sight of the canal's importance, both to national security and to the U.S. economy. Not President Trump. When he demanded fair treatment for American ships and goods, many in the media scoffed. But the Panama Canal was not just given away. President Carter struck a bargain. He made a treaty. And President Trump is making a serious and substantive argument that that treaty is being violated right now.
Yes.
This committee has jurisdiction under the Senate rules over the Panama Canal, and today we will examine evidence of potential violations. President Trump has highlighted two key issues. Number one, the danger of China exploiting or blocking passage through the canal. And number two, the exorbitant costs for transit. Chinese companies are right now building a bridge across the canal at a slow pace so as to take nearly a decade.
Wow.
And Chinese companies control container ports at either end. The partially completed bridge gives China the ability to block the canal without warning. And the ports give China ready observation posts to time that action. This situation, I believe, poses acute risks to U.S. national security. Meanwhile, the high fees for canal transit disproportionately affect Americans because U.S. cargo accounts for nearly 3/4 of canal transits. U.S. Navy vessels pay additional fees that apply only to warships.
Wow.
Canal profits regularly exceed $3 billion. This money comes from both American taxpayers and consumers in the form of higher costs for goods. American tourists aboard cruises, particularly those in the Caribbean Sea, are essentially captive to any fees Panama chooses to levy for canal transits. And they have paid unfair prices for fuel bunkering at terminals in Panama as a result of government-granted monopoly. Panama's government relies on these exploitative fees. Nearly 1/10 of its budget is paid for with canal profit. As those fees cascade through the American economy and the federal fisc, the Chinese Communist Party advances its global economic contest against the United States and takes a militaristic interest in the canal. While President Trump has rightly focused on these key issues, there are additional problems. In the last 2 years, the Canal Authority generated record revenue even while transits were depressed by drought conditions. And the only comfort to delayed and overcharged ships is that Panama may invest in more freshwater reserves in the future. Even as it takes advantage of the global maritime system, Panama has emerged as a bad actor. Panama has for years flagged dozens of vessels in the Iranian Ghost Fleet, which brought Iran tens of billions of dollars in oil profits to fund terror across the world.
Wow.
And Chinese companies have won contracts, often without fair competition, as the infamous Belt and Road Initiative has come to Panama. China often engages in debt trap diplomacy to enable economic and political coercion. In Panama, it also seems to have exploited simple corruption.
Guys, again, are we not getting the truth like never before when it comes to how much the United States has been screwed over by everybody in the world, and our politicians have not done anything about it till Trump? Jeff loves the truth. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Say, can you tell us what happened with Pam Bondi? She has had her confirmation delayed 7 days. This happened last Friday. So for 1 week, 7 days, nothing's happening with it. This Friday, they'll be taking up her confirmation to restart it again. But again, it's just the Democrats trying to delay Trump's cabinet people. Guys, I wanted to show you this. Oh, y'all show Jeff loves the truth some love in the chat. That was a great question. This is what is so different about Trump versus Biden, which we all said Biden wasn't really the president. He was just a puppet. First week in office, Biden took 6 questions. The first 3 months, he took questions 51 times. Trump, comparatively, 78 questions in his first week in 48 minutes. And then his first week, he took questions 11 times. Guys, so much difference in transparency that we're getting. And the other transparency that we're getting too is that Trump is cleaning house of the DOJ. They're not holding back, and he doesn't care what people think. Check this out from our boy Scott Jennings on CNN.
I actually think it's pretty reasonable for the president, who was just elected, to not want people in his government that he runs who were just most recently trying to put him in jail. I mean, it seems like common sense to me that it wouldn't be right to force the president to run a government, at least, which in part has been recently trying to jail him. And I grant you that nothing wrong may have happened, that they may have done everything correctly, but still, he got elected. This is a government of the people that elects the president. It's not a government of the career prosecutors. And so I think for now, it's fine that they're not in the government. When he's not the president, and if they want to come back, I'm not sure I would have a problem with that. But I do think it's reasonable for the president to believe that the entire executive branch is, rowing in the direction that he sets as the duly elected president.
I just think that forgets the point that the Department of Justice and the attorneys in the department should act free from any political influence or will.
But it's a department of the executive branch. The president appoints the attorney general. It works for the president,
But the Department of Justice does not work for the president.
Yes,
the
it does.
Department of Justice works for the American people.
Guys, I love it. The truth. The Department of Justice is under the executive branch. Who's in charge of the executive branch? Donald Trump. You don't get no more plainer than that.
It works for the executive branch. It's in the Constitution. It exists in the executive branch.
The lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people.
You're acting like it's an independent branch of government. It's in the executive branch, run by the president.
I mean, but the lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people, not for the President of the United States, not the person in the office.
So you don't think anyone in the executive branch is bound to the head of the executive branch?
No. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, though. I think this is very critical. You have political appointees who serve at the pleasure of the president. They can be fired whenever, for whatever reason. The president doesn't even need to say why. These are career prosecutors.
So?
These are career inspector generals. There's actually a law that says that you cannot fire them without cause.
What did they do? They weaponized the justice system, guys. Guys, y'all are so amazing, guys. We got over 1,600 people watching. The channel is growing so much, guys. Thank you for your support. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, guys, please do so. It really helps the channel. Guys, I want to show you this. This is so monumental, so huge right here. Not only is Pete Hegseth our new Secretary of Defense, check this out. He is on it like nobody's business. He reposted this. Check it out. Last night, the initial deployment of 1,500 active duty personnel brings the total military Title 10 forces along the border to nearly 4,000 personnel, guys. This is border security. This right here is protecting the American people, guys. I love it. We are moving forward so fast in such a positive way. Chip Trap, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, what does everyone think about the difference between Caroline Leavitt and KJP? Oh my goodness, it is night and day. And I want to show you this, guys. This is the difference. In the press briefing today, somebody tried to slam her and say that Trump has made prices on eggs rise up. Listen to her response.
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration and the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing to doing that in the days ahead.
Guys, what a boss. I love it. Because again, too, they're right now the news is trying to say it's Trump's fault. It's like, are you kidding me, guys? Are you serious? Thank you so much, S. Caleb Teague. First timer with the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show S. Caleb some love in the chat. Guys, let me tell you this. The movement is so powerful. And again, we're fighting a lot of people that across the board because governors and a lot of red state governors are moving to enact Trump's mass deportation. But there's a lot of Democrats in these states as well. Listen to this, guys, because I'm telling you, Trump is going to have his way one way or another. Check this out.
Florida. Governor, I looked at what you put forward and your proposal to help the president with law enforcement compliance, criminal penalties for illegal entry, state immigration enforcement officer, unauthorized alien transport program, gang enforcement program, educational and voting reforms. Am I reading this right? In my state of Florida, where you're my governor, that you have to fight a Republican legislator to pass those common sense measures?
Guys, it's crazy.
Can you imagine? I mean, I got reelected by a record margin, running strong on immigration. Donald Trump won a historic landslide, a big win in Florida, running on the strongest immigration platform in the history of the United States. All these legislators ran bashing Biden for 4 years. So now we have a chance. The president gets sworn into office. He's doing what he said he's going to do. He's issuing these executive orders. So we have a special session of the legislature to say, Florida's going to be in this fight. We can be a force multiplier. And here's the thing, Sean, the Homeland, these guys are doing great. They don't have enough resources when you talk about all the people that have come in. You got to have local and state supplementing the federal government. We're the ones that are interacting with illegals, you know, traffic stops. If you have gang members at some apartment complex, local cops should get...
Guys, and I wanted to also tell you this, sorry to interrupt, but there was literally 2 people that were caught today, illegal immigrants by ICE. And you know what? They had over 130,000 fentanyl pills that they were going to be putting on the streets. But ICE was able to capture them and to take those drugs off the street. That is what is an amazing safety, just putting safety back into America. I love it.
And then alert ICE. We've got to work together. So that's what we're trying to do. But, you know, there's swampy politics everywhere. And so some of the legislative leaders, they foisted a different bill on the legislature today that guts all of the things you just said. It guts that and actually takes power away from me as governor and gives it to the commissioner of agriculture, which agriculture is not exactly known for immigration enforcement. Because right now, it's ridiculous and it's unconstitutional. I've got Highway Patrol working with Trump's administration now. I've got National Guard. I am totally happy to do all I can. This actually takes the power away that I'm currently exercising now. So we've got to be strong. We got to be strong as possible. We've got to get this right once and for all. This is a historic moment.
Do you agree with me, and I've been saying it for a long time now, and I've spent a lot of time on this program scrolling the names of people, names most Americans never heard of, people that were murdered, people that were raped, including known children, young children. We have known terrorists in the country, cartel members in the country, we have gang members in the country. That means they're also in the state of Florida. As I asked Tom Homan, I have to imagine and assume that a known terrorist is plotting an attack on the homeland. I would imagine that our state of Florida is a target. Donald Trump spends a lot of time down here. Am I wrong?
Look, Sean, I don't have any specific intelligence, but you cannot possibly have 4 years of a wide open border and not have those types of people seek refuge in this country and then plot. So absolutely, I think that there are terror cells throughout the country. I know that there are cartel cells. Donald Trump did the absolute right thing by designating the cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations. And I think you're going to see some conflict there, which is probably a long time coming. But all of these things, I think, just underscore the urgency of what the Trump administration is trying to do. We've got to get these people out of our country. The state of Florida wants to be there. We want to work hand in hand at the city level, at the county level, and at the state level to help get the job done.
Donald Trump backed your call for a special session. He said, thank you, Ron. Hopefully other governors will follow. What powers do you have as the governor in the free state of Florida to bypass a legislature that clearly does not understand how important this is, that this is the biggest national security threat we're currently facing?
Well, I can do some of the things I'm doing. Florida State Guard, National Guard, I have Highway Patrol, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and we're already integrated. We're working with the Trump administration. Biden's people didn't want to work with us at all. So that's been a breath of fresh air, but that's just scratching the surface. What we need to do is we need the strong enforcement legislation to say we all have duties at every level of government in Florida to cooperate and to work constructively with the Trump administration. Now, we don't have sanctuary cities. We ban those under my governorship. We're not a sanctuary state, but there's a difference between not sabotaging and actively assisting, and we can be the force multiplier. So I'm going to do whatever I can do. I'm already doing that. You know, Sean, I was the first governor to send people to the border to help Texas back in 2021. We started the transport program, which ended up the Martha's Vineyard mission was the most famous one of those. So we have been in this fight for a long time. But I'll tell you what Donald Trump's allowing to do, he's willing to deputize our state and local officials to exercise immigration authority.
Yes.
So if people show up on the shores of Jupiter from Haiti illegally, I can have local and state people just send them back to Haiti immediately. We would never have been allowed to do that under Biden. So the president's trying to empower us, and we need to take him up on that.
Guys, it is so powerful what we are seeing right now. I wanted to show you this breaking news from the leading report that just came out, guys, in the last hour, that China has agreed to take back its citizens living illegally in the United States after President Trump threatened to impose tariffs and sanctions on countries that refuse to accept deportees. I'm telling you, the thing that happened with Colombia has literally rocked the entire world. I also wanted to show you this, guys, because this is also some huge breaking news that I want to hear your thoughts. So the France is ready to deploy troops to Greenland and oppose the U.S., which is crazy because Trump has spoken with the Greenland Prime Minister and they're on good terms. But for some reason, the Denmark is calling for help from France and other European countries to support Denmark to try to keep Trump from and the United States of America from gaining Greenland. So guys, this is a breaking story that happened this morning. We're going to be keeping you up to date on it, but there is a lot that is going on, not just here in the United States, but around the world that is, Trump is moving with the force, and a lot of people, they don't know how to handle it, guys. Listen to this because, again, it's a worldwide impact of what Trump is doing. Check it out from his special counsel.
The White House tonight. I want to start with Colombia, maybe the fastest capitulation in political history. You got this president barking at the United States. Trump responds, and 6 minutes later, he's admitting that he'll send his own planes to pick his criminals up out of our country. How did that happen?
That's right. Yeah, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. That's pretty much what happened. He was trying to flex, it sounds like, this Colombian president, and he flexed with the wrong president, and that's President Trump. It was very clear what happened. Frankly, it was on social media, so we could all see it. He very quickly said, you're going to mess with us. You're not going to take your criminals back because you don't like how they're shackled. Well, then take them. Treat them like princes for all we care, but you're going to take them back because they had no business being in our country. And President Trump made that very clear. He said he would tariff them. He said he would deal with their visas with the people that are coming in from Colombia. He would hit them hard if you do not go ahead with the America First foreign policy, which is putting our country.
Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. We have over 1,700 people watching. Guys, this is so amazing. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. Let's get to 1,500 likes. We can do it, guys.
Above all others. And frankly, it was tremendous to watch, and it's exactly what this country has missed for the last 4 years.
Well, and I think even longer. I think a lot of these people that run smaller nations have really enjoyed how easily we were manipulated for a long time. And to see that just end all at once has got to be shocking to them. I'm sure he didn't expect this because he's been eating our lunch for probably a long time in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and there's a lot of corruption there. Look, we know that these people, they don't want to take them. They probably wanted them. Who knows? Cartels, all of that. And that is exactly what President Trump has run on. That's what the American people voted for. And putting these foreign America First policies in place is exactly what we're going to do. You are not messing with us when it comes to these are your people. You have to take them back. You don't like the way we delivered them? Okay, put them, I don't care if you put them in a horse and carriage. You're taking them back. And that's just the way it's going to be. And I think he's sending a really strong message. As we've seen, he's done so much in the past, literally the first 5 days, more than I think President Biden has done in his entire administration through the 4 years that they were here. And we're working tirelessly. Obviously, I'm here and watching it firsthand, but I'm really proud to be part of this administration.
Yeah, it's very interesting and very exciting so far. I want to move on to Greenland, which is just another hot subject. There was a phone call that apparently got very ugly between the Prime Minister of Denmark and President Trump. Trump he's saying he wants the United States to control Greenland for security purposes, not just for ourselves, but he says for the entire world, since the United States, as we all know, inherits the burden of keeping most of the world safe. Trump's saying it has nothing to do with the United States other than that we're the one that can provide the freedom Denmark cannot. Where will this go? It's like, is this something that actually can get done, or is there some kind of position in the middle that we'll fall into? What are your thoughts?
I think that it's divided over there, as we know, and they have to come to some sort of agreement. If President Trump is saying that's what he wants, look at what he's done with Panama Canal, the same thing. There's a lot that goes into this: economics, trade, safety, security, and the president's interest is in making America stronger, but also the world stronger. And if he sees this as something that's a real goal, my money's on Trump.
Yeah, I want to talk Gaza for 1 second before I let you go. Trump indicating the 1.5 million people that live in Gaza should be moved into neighboring Arab nations, including Jordan and Egypt, which I think a lot of people that have considerations for Israel have thought is the logical thing for a long time, that it would be much easier to have peace in that region without these people living in this little slice of Israel that they describe as an open-air prison. If they want to describe it as that, then let's get them out of there. And I think this is the most logical solution to a problem that is never going to go away.
100%. I think it makes sense for them. Look, there's religious prosecution over there. We've seen it. The fighting has to stop. What we've seen with the hostage releases and now a ceasefire, we are truly changing the world and making it a better place. And I think this is an important thing that they need to consider doing. I think that he is, like I said, when America is strong, the world is strong. And that's what we're seeing. And this is a great recommendation by President Trump to move them into Egypt, to move them.
Guys, this is so powerful. We're moving faster than ever. We're moving in such a pace. And again, too, I want to show you this, guys, because it's so important. What president do you know that has done this and had the backbone to do this? All federal grants and loan disbursements paused by the White House. And again, I want to show you the receipts. This document is the official document. And right here, I'm trying to highlight it, but right towards the middle, it says that in fiscal year 2024, in fiscal year 2024, of the nearly 10 trillion, guys, with a T, that the federal government spent, more than 3 trillion was federal financial assistance, such as grants and loans. 3 trillion, 30%, over 3 trillion. So we now know what Trump has said, that there is no accountability. There is no, they don't know where the money is going fully. They don't have accountability. It's not being managed properly. And that's why he said, we're just going to stop it. We need to pause. This is going to be massive cuts to the spending. But he said this will save the taxpayers money because we're going to make a system that works. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. You are so amazing. We have such a growing community, guys. Want to say we got over 1,500 people watching. If you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. And just want to say, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every day with the top news. It means the world to me that we get to do this every single day. And thank you to all of our members of the channel. Guys, I'm so excited on where things are going. And if you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We are just so ecstatic about the charities we're giving to. We're going to be giving to a charity in February called New Beginnings. and it's a charity that helps out unplanned pregnancies, helps out moms that can't afford, the cost of having a baby, or helps with adoption so that there's not just a child that's thrown into the system, but a child is helped to find a loving family. That is going to be our charity for February. And again, we give the majority of the portion of the membership dues and the super chats to these charities. I want to give some shout outs to Sherry Garcia, John Reppy, Judy Lynn Loving Spirit, Glenn Hutchcraft, Jeff Loves the Truth, Chip Trap, S. Caleb Teague. Y'all show them some love in the chat, everybody. Love y'all so much. Appreciate your support. We couldn't do this without you guys. We are here to serve you every single day with the top news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.